Hello, everyone, and welcome to my I Love Learning podcast today. You all, I have such a special guest for you today. Brad Burns is joining us. And if you want to connect with a successful entrepreneur, co founder, business owner, Brad is certainly the person you want to connect with. He actually owns several companies and he has been on the Inc. 5000 list multiple times. And not only just on the list, he's at the top of the list. And not only does he own companies, he is such a kind and gentle leader. And I was so impressed with Brad in the Inc. 5000 community. He humbly accepted to spend time with us today to share about his passion and really what makes him happy. And so, thank you so much, Brad, for joining us today. Thanks for being here. Go ahead and introduce
Yeah,
yourself
for sure.
and tell everyone what you're passionate about.
Yeah, always happy to do everything I can to spread the good word. So I'm Brad Burns, entrepreneur from St. Louis. I wholly own or co-own 5 different companies as well as a holdings company. Grew up in a small rural town here just outside of St. Louis. Had an amazing family growing up that was super supportive of me. And fortunately, I was able to find somebody that I could also introduce into my life. My current wife, Sarah. Who's kind of continued that support for me and has allowed me to really focus on the growth of these companies. So the first one that I started was in 2014. It's Wayne Contracting. It's a commercial general contracting company that actually will be celebrating its 10-year anniversary this next month, which is super exciting. I'm still trying to
Wow.
kind of figure out what we're going to do, but it's not really my sweet spot in terms of my skill set is planning parties. And in 2019, we launched VizX, which is a signage graphics and decor company that works commercially all across the country. Merrimack was also founded that year, which does hardscapes and concrete, so like patios, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, all that kind of fun stuff. So those companies will be celebrating 5 years this year as well. And then most recently, we opened up a company called City Seafood, which sells seafood, fresh seafood wholesale
Uh-huh.
here in the St. Louis market to restaurants, country clubs. We're probably about 60 days away from opening up like a direct-to-consumer side of that. So
Wow.
people will be able to order fresh seafood and have it delivered right to the front door, the same quality that you get in a restaurant. And then the other company that we started in the past few months was one called Arch City Investment Group, where we're going to open up franchise restaurant concepts like QSR type locations with the plan to build a portfolio to like 40 to 50 locations, hopefully within the next 5 years. So it's like every 5 years I kind of get this itch
Yeah.
to do something different or expand or just the right opportunity presents itself. I've been fortunate in those organizations. I own Wing Contracting wholly, and the other companies I have partners, and
Hmm.
it's I've been pretty fortunate to find other guys or other people that have the similar ideology and similar goals and similar interests that we can kind of formulate an opportunity and kind of push it down the field and see what happens with it. Um, you know, as far as outside of work, I currently serve on the board of Junior Achievement of Greater St. Louis and the board chair of Haven House, which is like a hospitality house here in St. Louis.
That's
Along with
amazing.
all that fun stuff, I have 5 kids: Chloe, Jordan,
Yeah.
Ryan, and Maggie. I've been married for about 18 years now to my wife, Sarah.
Wow. Well, I mean, I have like one company and I know how much work that is. So when I met you, I was just overwhelmed with like just inspire. I mean, you inspire me, and there's a lot of, entrepreneurs and business owners that really could learn from you, and specifically in like how you do all that you do, and keep such a positive frame of mind. One of the things that Brad wrote in our community was about his sixth grade teacher, and he wrote a message about building confidence, and how that teacher had such an impact on his life, and so forth. So in terms of like thinking about your passion of is building businesses and being entrepreneurial, can you talk about like was there a time that there's something that stood in your way of, or a roadblock of kind of moving forward and doing your journey of, I would say, Brad, how would you define it? Is your passion like the creation, or like what is it specifically? And is there a
Yeah,
road? Yeah.
I think it's seeing something. I think it's twofold. It's creating
Mhm.
something from scratch. All these companies were ground up companies. We didn't acquire any of them, and then putting in the effort to make them be successful
Mm.
along with the people that are involved. that's the biggest thing too. Is I'm I've always tell everybody that's asked, I'm not a master of anything. I'm good enough at all these various components of a company to kind of push the boat off the shore a little bit and hope that other
Mhm.
people swim out and help me kind of row. Because everybody that we have inside of any of these organizations are way better at their individual, skill
Mm.
sets than I am at any of them, to be completely honest. So, I'm extremely fortunate to have been able to locate and partner up with a lot of good people that, decided that they wanted to get involved in what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Has there was there a roadblock or something that ever stood in the way of maybe doing this and creating these organizations?
I mean, just like everybody that sets out to start a business or to do anything on their own, entrepreneurship can be a super lonely situation, especially when you're starting out. I know when I was kind of getting the ball rolling, it always felt like I was the only one that really believed in myself. Outside of my
Oh.
wife, which makes putting in the long hours challenging at times for sure. Starting out, I didn't know a ton about running my business, so I made a
Mm.
bunch of mistakes in that first couple of years. Just business structures and accounting software and how to, do gap accounting, all that fun stuff. Um, yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah.
So I obviously, I learned from those situations, and the plan is to fail and learn and move
Mm.
on and never have those roadblocks again. So truth be told, the early days were the times that I questioned if it was the right path, and but I just kind of forced myself to put those ideas aside and push them out of my head, and told myself, let's all in and let's kind of see where it ends up.
Wow, like this idea of resilience, I just wrote about it this week, in fact, and being going through a journey and having resilience, I mean, is so critical. And that's what you describe. I mean, is really digging deep and like finding that thing inside of you that can help you move forward. How did you what was it? You said like you thought in your mind there's something. How did you overcome those roadblocks of like feeling lonely, feeling like maybe no one believed in you, or how are you going to go forward? Can you remember? Is there something that, you can pinpoint that helped you overcome that?
You know, I was the first person in the family to get like a bachelor's that was followed by a master's degree. So when I was young, we didn't have a ton by any means. We weren't wealthy.
Mm,
I had an awesome childhood, learned some really valuable lessons and things from my parents, the value of hard work,
mm,
having integrity, respect. And, when you make a mistake, own it and just say, here's a solution we're going to kind of move forward with. And sadly, to me, at least the way I kind of see it is, as far as like owning your own business and kind of doing your own thing, the bar is super low. If you can do those basic things, you typically have success and people want to work with you. And that's the biggest thing is just being genuine and saying, this is who I am. This is how we operate. And, if I make a mistake, we're going to figure it out and kind of run on the field together. So, one of the things that I've told a lot of people when I was young, I just decided that I wanted to kind of change the paradigm of my family.
mm,
We grew up in a rural town. There wasn't a lot of ton of entrepreneurs. There wasn't people that owned, huge businesses or anything like that.
mm-hmm.
I used to tell everybody, or say to a lot of people, that I wanted to kind of be like the Henry Ford of my family, the one that kind of stepped up,
Oh,
took a chance to create something, and ultimately found some success. So, I think wanting more for myself and my family is what kind of continues to push me to drive and put in the long hours and do whatever it takes to provide that.
yeah, that's a really really specific advice that I think honestly I really feel that can help somebody, because if you I didn't have, I was the same as you, not, nobody else had gotten a prior degree. There's education was valued, but really
Sure.
the bar is set to do something, and only you yourself can set that context. So if you feel that you're being held back because of education or where you're positioned, or even like you said, like wealth, you can make that decision to move forward. And you're a beautiful example, and you just described that nobody should let their circumstances of life hold them back, and I can appreciate that. So thank you for sharing that
Yeah,
story.
and I think that's one of the big benefits of being afforded the opportunity to grow up in America where we are. You just if you work hard and put in the effort, a lot of times you're going to see some sort of result. So a
Hmm.
lot of people around the world just don't have that same opportunity. So we should kind of count our blessings that we're afforded the ability to grow up in America.
Absolutely. So what keeps you happy every day and wants you to continue? So okay, cuz I can imagine your day. You have 5 children. Bless your heart. You have 5 businesses and I know you have some extras in there too. So we'll say 6. We'll say 6. We'll say 5.5. What keeps you happy? What keeps you on this, projection of wanting to grow, wanting to learn? You say every 5 years you're sprouting a new company. What is it? How do you keep yourself happy?
Um, you know, just kind of going back to the team. I mean, I'm super fortunate to have great people that work with me.
Mm,
Make
mm.
the challenging things super easy. Like I don't have to worry about accounting that much anymore. We have an internal accounting team, which is great.
Love that.
Um, we have like a shared services model. So what we do is we share a lot of the costs. So we'll just have one group that
Mm,
handles kind of the accounting for everybody,
mm.
which affords us the ability to kind of get these new companies up and running a little bit quicker than we typically would be able to, especially if we had to afford our own, accounting person for each individual entity. I think it allows
Mhm.
us to get a higher quality person too in each of those different roles, just because we can share the costs. So it affords us a higher level of talent in each of those specific roles.
Mm.
Without those people, I would still be working 20 hours a day, not sleeping, and probably be in pretty rough shape, especially after 10 years. So being able to delegate things has, been an amazing, and I feel very fortunate to be able to do that. Um,
Mhm.
Outside of that, feeling like I've succeeded for my family is a huge one. My
Mm.
kids happy and healthy with an abundance of opportunities in front of them to kind of just decide their own path and do whatever they want. It just makes it feel like the effort was really worth the climb. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing it and seeing the value added to your children. That's amazing. I love that idea. Is there something specific that you think you've learned along your journey that had an impact on your thinking? Like, can you look back and there's like a pivotal moment that you're like, aha, like, or was it just hard work? Is it just this value that you had of working hard? I mean, do you think there was something pivotal that you learned or just part of your values?
Well, it's whenever you talk about entrepreneurship, everybody always says find something you're super passionate about. And it's like you never worked a day in your life.
Uh-huh.
All the stuff that I'm doing, I'm not, I never thought that I would grow up and be involved in organizations like this.
Uh-huh.
Seafood, not in my wildest dreams.
Right,
Owning
seafood.
restaurants, no.
Mhm.
General contracting, signage, concrete, none of those things when I was young, I'd have been like, that's what I'm going to do. So I think it's just seeing an opportunity and
Uh-huh.
kind of taking it by the reins and pushing it to make the most out of whatever it is. So, um, to, I would say that one of the things, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, you brought up earlier, is the story about how I kind of just created a baseline of confidence in my life when is actually in second grade. We were learning
Oh, second grade.
multiplication, and
Uh-huh.
it was a new concept for the class, and the teacher put a problem up on the board. Said, everybody just try to solve this using the skills that you guys have, and we'll see where we kind of end up at. And you kind of work for a little bit. The teacher's walking around, looking at everybody's answers. Goes back up to the front of the class and says, "All right, who has an answer who has the right answer?" And there's always those people that think that they know everything, or that they give it their best effort and they think that they're right. This little kid raised their hands, threw their answer out, and the teacher was like, "No, that's not right." And
Oh.
I would say probably 75% of the class had the same answer. Asked if there was anybody else that had a similar answer
Oh.
or another answer, and another kid raised her hand and was like, provided their answer, and she said, who else got that answer? And pretty much everybody that was left in the class besides me raised their hand, and she said that was the right answer either, and I was like, oh man. So she had been walking around, obviously looking at everybody's paperwork, asked me specifically, said, Brad, what did you get? Was really reluctant to say what answer I got. Threw out my answer, and she asked if anybody else got the answer. Nobody raised their hand, so I was the only
Wow.
one. So as a kid, you're thinking, "Oh no," but
Yeah.
it ended up being the right answer. And when she said it was, it was like a something went off in my head, and it was like, all right, I don't have to feel like I can't speak up for myself. I don't have to feel like I'm afraid to raise my hand and put myself out there. So I think that was kind of the thing that created like a baseline of confidence for me that really kind of was the foundation of what I've kind of grown into confidence wise, which some people will tell you is I'm pretty confident these days. So.
Yeah, you know what? Like I think I mean, teachers have such not only teachers, like you said that you're on a board of juniors, and I mean just like really foundational young people. I mean everyone has the opportunity to help somebody else move their
Sure.
mindset forward, right? And like I feel like teachers, that teacher had such a foundational impact on your life even today that you can remember that. Anytime that we have the opportunity to say something to anybody, whether it's an adult or a child, to help them move them forward in their own mindset, can be foundational to their life. And
Sure.
I'm sure you see this like in your own work with youth and your own children of having that opportunity. And what a beautiful moment that is and was, that you can recall that and then that teacher had that impact, because I'm sure any educator that's an educator is doing it because they want to have that impact. And so, I think that's an awesome opportunity that anybody has to make these changes for individuals.
Yeah,
So
you never know. I mean, just the smallest or the slightest little thing could, really impact somebody in a way that you never even would have anticipated. So, that's one of the things. Just growing up in the situation that I did, I'm in a situation where I've had a fair amount of success and have the ability to kind of give back and kind of push that back towards people that may see the same benefit that I did when I was a kid. And I'm all about trying to do everything I can. So, which is one of the reasons why I got involved with Junior Achievement. It's a great organization, and that's their focus is financial literacy for kids and entrepreneurship,
mm,
which are two things right in my wheelhouse. So growing up, I don't know what it was like in the school district that you were a part of. They just didn't really teach a lot about compound interest, how to balance a checkbook, what
mm.
credit cards were like, what a mortgage is. So those are all things you just kind of had to fend for yourself on coming out of high school. So, there's some concepts that kids learn through this program with Junior Achievement that really allows them to kind of garner a base of knowledge that they can kind of grow and develop.
Yeah, learning is so amazing that there's these organizations out there that are helping people advance their knowledge. Because look, right, Brad, learning doesn't stop at high school. Learning doesn't stop, at when you're 80.
Sure.
Learning is life. Learning is going to keep us alive and keep us healthy and keep us growing. So, with that, I wanted to ask you, I told you this before we got on. And, one of the things that's the reality of today is that a lot of people are not feeling hopeful. I mean, there's a lot of negativity. People are struggling. I had, drivers telling me that they feel depressed. And this isn't just drivers and truck drivers. That's who we work with. It's a lot of people. And if somebody told you, or somebody on your team, or just some stranger, or maybe there's someone listening, that they feel like they've lost their passion, they don't have a passion, or they can't go forward, and they're just not ready, they just have stopped learning. What advice, given everything that you've gone through and the fact that you have a mind of a champion, what would you offer to them, or what would you suggest to them today? What would you say?
Well, I appreciate that. The mind of a champion. That's a great compliment. Um, I would say that if you're striving towards something, then just keep going for it. I mean, you're more than likely so close to achieving what you're setting out to do with whatever endeavor you're trying to follow. You just do whatever's necessary to keep going. I mean, I don't think anybody ever says that they regret following a dream, even if it ends up not working out. But you're always going to regret not going all in or giving up too early. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You give it your all, you give it everything, and you end up back in the same spot where you're doing what you were doing before you took a chance and kind of stick your neck out. I mean, what are you really going to lose?
Absolutely. And you know what? And you can say this, this having five businesses. Every day isn't glorious. Winning isn't glorious.
No,
Winning requires getting the darkest of dark days that you have to go through. I mean, you have to endure hard, grueling moments every week. Almost every week you do that. And so this idea of a dreams, the process of going through the dream, once you get there, it's going to continue on. You're going to have to continue to fight, you're going to have to continue to grind if you really want to make
sure.
your dream and passion come real, because that provides meaning to you. But the dark times and the hard times that you're going through, help educate you to help you move forward. So I love how you share, don't give up. Don't give up. Brad doesn't give up. He's probably going to start another company in like another year, right? You're not going to give up. You're going to keep going because you have support, you have the confidence, you have the recipe of a mindset to help you know that despite where you were born, despite the environment you were in, despite not having, a family that, had PhDs, you made a life for yourself. And I think that's something that when people say, "What's your legacy?" I mean, the thing is, you pass that on to everybody you touch. And so I appreciate that about you, Brad. And congratulations on all
Appreciate
your success. And congratulations just for being an awesome person. I mean, gosh, I mean, it's amazing. So, what message would you like to leave with everyone today? Tell people where they can find you, unless you don't want them to find you. I don't know, but if they want people to find you, and give us some lasting words of advice for today.
Yeah, I would say that, sometimes big goals can be daunting. I mean, I would start with, biting off smaller chunks, and then each of those wins will just continue to grow your confidence and give you the ability to, stretch yourself and go, continue to strive towards those larger aspirations that you have. And as far as finding me, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me. Just Google me. As far as like a website, we have a website for a holdings company. It's the Burns Companies, TheBurnsCos.com. So you can go check us out there.
Awesome, Brad. Well, thanks for joining me today, and thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you next week.